Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today we are going to learn how to multiply decimals by decimals. This is Chapter 3, Lesson 4, and this is found on page 201. Today we're going to skip the real world link right now. And we're going to go on to the next page where it gives more specific examples. So let's turn to page 202. Multiplying decimals. When multiplying a decimal by a decimal, multiply as if you were just doing it with whole numbers. Then, to place the decimal point, find the sum of the number of decimal places in each factor. The product has the same number of decimal places. All right, let's do this problem. And everyone, let's just rewrite it over here to the right. 3 6/10 times 0.05. Now, when I write these numbers down, kids, I just omit this 0 because it's really not necessary whenever I'm doing this part of the problem. Here we go. 5 times 6 is 30, put down a 0, carry a 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. Now, you count how many numbers are behind the decimal point in this whole problem. Decimal point 1, decimal point 2. So altogether there's 1, 2, 3 numbers, 3 places that are behind the decimal point. So, here we go. I have 1, 2, 3. The answer is 0.180, or 0 and 180 thousandths, or 0 and 18 hundredths. Any questions? Remember, these say the same thing. All right, is everyone's pencil working? Okay, let's go to the next example. In this one, I always find it confusing to fill in the boxes when I'm doing these. So let's just write the problem out to the side. Okay, we're not going to pay attention to this. Let's just do the whole problem. I'm going to put 112 thousandths on top. Everyone's pencil should be moving. Times 7 2/10. Here we go. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Now remember, you act like the decimal points aren't in the problem. Don't line them up. Just multiply like they're not there. Place value 0 before you multiply by the 7. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry a 1. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. And 7 times 1 is 7. Now I'm going to add them together. 4, 6, 10, carry a 1, 8. Now we count. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? Alex, how many numbers are behind the decimal point? Oh, there are 3 in the top one. 1, 2, 3, and there's 1 here. Do you see that one, Alex? That's a total of 4. We have to train our eyes to look for both numbers, and now in our problem we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal point. Any questions on how we did that problem? Okay, let's do A, B, and C together right now. Let's set them up. I always, here it doesn't matter which number I put on top because they both have the same number of digits. Make sure you put the right number down there. Okay, on this one, 4 12 hundredths times 5 hundredths. And this one, 0.014. Okay, I'm going to put this on pause. Okay, 8 times 7 is 56, carry a 5. 40 plus 5 is 45. I'm going to multiply by the 2. I put a place value 0 down. 2 times 7 is 14, carry a 1. 10 plus 1 is 11. Add them together. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 1, 2. So I am going to move it 2 places, 1, 2, and you have 15 and 96 hundredths. Everyone agree? Good. This one, 5 times 2 is 10, carry a 1, 5 plus 1 is 6, 5 times 4 is 20. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in this problem? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. 0 and 2,060 ten thousandths. All right, 7 times 4 is 28. Put down an 8, carry a 2. 7 plus 2 is 9. Don't need to multiply by the 0 if you don't want to, because there's nothing else in front of it. Place value 0. 3 times 4 is 12. Put down a 2, carry a 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Add them together. How many numbers are behind a decimal point in the problem? Class? 4. That's right. So we're going to move it over 4 places. Oh, I don't have enough numbers. I have an empty blank. And what do we put in empty blanks, Quinn? 0. That's right. Thanks for helping Quinn out there. 0. Okay, let's go on to the next page, 203. They like this word annex, don't they? Annex or add or put a 0. If there are not enough decimal places in the product, you need to annex, place, or put zeros to the left. Let's look at this next example here. 1 4/10 times 67 thousandths. You don't line them up when you multiply, kids. See how they don't line it up? They don't put a place value 0. Put a place value 0 there. And they add them together. They get 938. How many numbers are behind the decimal point? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to put a 0 on the empty spot. Any questions on that?
No.
We're not going to do example 4 either. Let's just do the ones down at the bottom of the page. So let's do D, E, and F. I will put it on pause, and then we'll go over how to do these problems. Now in D, I would put 32 hundredths on top, 4 hundredths on bottom. I would put 205 thousandths on top, 26 hundredths on bottom. Now, remember, we can do this because multiplication and addition is commutative. That means the order that you put it doesn't matter. But it does matter for subtraction and division. You can't just move them around any way you want to on those. But it's called the commutative property. That's why we're allowed to move them around of that. Okay, pause. Okay, let's go over these problems. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put my decimal point and a 0. Pretty good at that? Good. Let's do the next problem. Put down 30. Put down a 0. Carry a 3. 6 times 0 is 0. Plus 3 is 3. 6 times 2 is 12. Now I'm going to multiply by the 2. There's one number behind it. I put a place value 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Put down a 0. Carry a 1. 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Add them together. 0, 3, 3, 5. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem, class? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you're doing a test or a quiz, if you just put a little line underneath it, that way you really know how many there are and you don't make a careless mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. because it's so easy to make careless mistakes on these. If your friend is doing something interesting, you glance over and the next thing you know, you forget it. So if you just draw the little lines, it's the best way and you make fewer mistakes. Okay, letter F. 6 times 3 is 18. Put down an 8, carry a 1. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. Put down a 9, carry a 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. I'm trying to slow down just a little bit. I realize I go fast. Now, how many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? Yes. 4. Thank you, Sophia. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we move it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal point and a 0. Any questions on these? How are you doing? Thumbs up if you're doing pretty good. Is the hardest part knowing your multiplication facts, really? You know the processes. Some of it's the 7s and the 8s. Always give us fits, I think. Okay, let's go to the next page. All right, let's look at our word problem. A certain car can travel 28 54 miles with 1 gallon of gasoline. The gasoline tank can hold 11 5/10 gallons. How many miles can this car travel on a full tank of gas? Well, you multiply. Now notice, put a place value 0. When they multiplied by that one, there was one number behind it. Put that in there. When they multiplied by this number, they had to leave 2 places, right? Put 2 place value zeros in there just so that you know. Sometimes our eyes don't always see what they have here. They had spaces. I like to put place value zeros. They added it up. There were 3 numbers behind the decimal point. So in the product, they had to move it 3 places. Any questions? All right, let's do our guided practice, and then I will have a few problems for you to do for homework. All right, let's get going. There won't be too many because there's not a whole lot of time left in class. So let's go. All right, here, you can do this one in your head. What's 6 times 5? 30. How many numbers are behind the decimal point? 2. So 1, 2, it's 0.30. Okay, this one is not as friendly. Let's do it. Let's do number 2. Get it over with, kids. 27 43/100 times 1 89 thousandths. All right, it's going to go down into this problem, I know. Here we go. Everybody, you do this problem, I'll give you a break on your homework. 9 times 3 is 27. Put down a 7, carry a 2. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus 2 is 38. Put down an 8, carry a 3. 9 times 7 is 63. Plus 3 is 66. Put down a 6, carry a 6. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 6 is 24. Multiply by the 8. 1 place value 0. Here we go. 8 times 3 is 24. Put down a 4, carry a 2. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 2 is 34. Put down a 4, carry a 3. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 3 is 59. Carry a 5. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 5 is 21. Now, I'm not going to multiply by the 0, but I do multiply by the 1. How many place value zeros do I have to put down before I multiply by the 1? Yeah. 3. There are 3 numbers behind the 1. You have to put down 3 place value zeros. Now we multiply by the 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 2 is 2. Add them together, and we end up with a 7, 12, carry a 1, 11, carry a 1, 17, carry a 1, 8, 9, 2. Whew. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 29 and 87,127 hundred thousandths. All right. That was just a really... Let's do question 5 because it has something special in it. In question 5, 300ths times 900ths. Okay, what's 3 times 9?
27.
Just write it down. Now, how many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to move the decimal point 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0.0027 is the answer for that. Okay? Now, what do I want you to do for homework in this class?